Welcome everybody to the Cleary November 2023 product launch. I'm Thomas Kunjapu. I'll be your host, co-host really, here along with Stephen Cariolis, who is going to be here in the background helping moderate chat and taking questions throughout our event today. And I'm excited to also have my partner in crime here, Lauren Wagner, with us to unveil product launch. So while we get started, I wanted to introduce Cleary and what we are all about here. So we are the digital employee experience platform behind some of the world's best places to work. We've been working cross-functionally with people leaders, internal communications leaders, operations, IT folks in several different groups, and really leadership teams overall to help build an incredible employee experience. And we help these teams take care of the digital employee experience. And it's really purpose-built for hybrid and remote teams in terms of what we do. And some context for our product launch I wanted to share here is some of the things that we're seeing from our community. So as we look to build the great workplaces of the future together, we've crystallized three key areas and themes where we've seen it's super important for a great company to do well. And one area is around curating communications the right way. So you're getting the right message, the right group via the right channels and at the right time. This is actually going to be a key focus of our product launch today. So I'm really excited to share that soon. But this is just a key pillar, which again changes when you have remote and hybrid workplaces. Another one is ensuring you have a connected culture at scale, even if everyone isn't sitting elbow to elbow, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday in the same office day in and day out. Now, employees want to feel connected to each other and the company's mission, as well as the work. And it's important to not forget the first two if you're building a great workplace of the future. And another one, it's really purely about efficiency and productivity, but it's really important for employees to find information and have it at their fingertips when they're just trying to be productive in their daily and weekly workflows. And great companies make that really easy for someone to just get the company out of the way and just help them do their work. And approaching all of this holistically is important if you want to have a great workplace of the future. And one problem area that we've really seen spike in the last couple of years is around the concept of onboarding, and especially how do you onboard someone into a great culture with good comms and in a way that things are efficient for them. That's something we've been working on with our community and our customers. So I want to welcome everyone here to that whole experience. So that's what we do overall. To start off here, I wanted to share 3 trends in the workplace that have been happening really throughout this year that I think informs a lot of the context for our product launch and the kinds of innovation that we're looking to do for the workplace. So first and foremost, return to office. So what's going on there? So there've been all of these headlines in 2023 from CEOs who are saying we have a hard line, we're bringing knowledge workers back to the office Monday to Friday, move back to the city where you're officially were located in 2019 or be a part of one of our major hubs. But the reality is when you look at the data, and this is from Castle Systems, which is a badging provider, and they've been looking across their major cities in the US and looking at the pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic return to office occupancy rates. So 100% was the mark for where people were as of March 2020. And it dipped obviously down to 0%. It's been slowly creeping back up, but then it's really crawled to a halt here. So in 2023, even with these mandates, what's been going on is as it gets translated to VPs and then to managers, you start to see exceptions happening. So the star engineer still gets to work remotely because you need that great person, or this one salesperson who is just really amazing at their job, we need to make an exception. Or someone is going to say, you know what, I'm going to leave the company if this is going to be forced, then you make exceptions. So office occupancy cuts through all of that to the ultimate thing of, is this actually happening? And it's pretty clear it's stalled out throughout 2023. And so what does that mean? That means that hybrid and remote work is here to stay, especially for knowledge workers, and especially if you want to engage with the best talent out there. So that's definitely one trend. Another trend that's impacting all of us is just secular full employment. So economists think of full employment meaning, people who are looking for work are generally getting them at a decent enough pace where the economy really is doing a great job employing people who are looking for work. at about 3.5 to 4%. And in the last couple of years, post-pandemic, we've actually been staying there. In 2022 and 2023, we've been hearing a turn in the macroeconomic climate, talking about recessions on the horizon. But within that whole context, it's important to note that the unemployment market or the labor market is still at full employment. So that's one piece of it. But then the other piece is actually open jobs. So this is data around how many companies are just hiring for people. So looking from 2021 off just up until last month. So you'll see a trend down from a high of about 12 million open jobs. So these are companies looking for jobs, but they haven't filled them. And it's actually gone down a little bit. So there's some softening, arguably, where now we're under 10 million open jobs. But let's zoom out a little bit more. Everything you saw is right there. So this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you go back to the year 2000, by the way, we have a couple of recessions noted here in gray. We have still just absolute record high amounts of open jobs that people are not able to fill. So the labor market is just saying, well, the war for talent continues. So those of us in like people roles and recruiting roles, they still know how difficult it is, especially to get great and top talent for the kinds of roles that they want. And the numbers bear it out. So trend number 2 says it is still hard to recruit and, of course, retain and engage great talent as we end 2023. And then the last one, I think everyone's been aware of this in many facets of life, but interest rates have been going up and away over the last 12 to 18 months. And what this means is that every company out there, whether it's a public company, unicorns, private venture-backed companies, just mom and pops, everyone's focused more on profitability than they ever have. So that means less spending. Certainly that translates to the people teams as well. So overall, what does that mean? We're seeing people teams needing to do more with less in 2024. More meaning you still need to work really hard to have a great employer brand if you want to recruit great talent, not to mention retain and engage them. More meaning it's always harder in a remote and hybrid setting to engage and retain employees. You have to be a lot more thoughtful about it. And then less in the sense that you have to do that with less in the sense that we have companies focused on profitability. So it's going to be, maybe something that you had a team that was a much bigger team supporting you in doing this work. It'll actually be shrunk down. And then one actual real trend we're seeing with people teams is this real remixing of roles. So, whether it's a chief people officer having the IT team to report into them, or the people operations folks also working on internal communications, or an office manager kind of turning into both an EA and an employee experience manager. And maybe all of these things reporting into a chief people officer structure. It's a little bit unclear, but what's happening is that people are being cross-trained constantly and having to do 2 or 3 kind of things, real titles, more or less, beyond just roles and hats. So this is the context within which we're super excited to launch some of our latest products, because we've been observing the Cleary customer base and the broader community, and we've been asking, well, how can we help our customers do more with less? So with that, I'm excited to bring up Lauren Wagner, our Senior Product Manager at Cleary, to discuss some of the latest innovations from us here at Cleary. Lauren.
Thanks, Thomas. So I'm Lauren. Like Thomas said, I'm the Senior Product Manager here at Cleary. I've been working with the engineering team here for over 4 years. And in that time, I've also been deeply embedded with a lot of our customers, leading implementations, getting them set up using Cleary correctly, as well as leading customer success efforts to ensure customers are using Cleary in the best way possible on an ongoing basis. So with that, I've spent many, many hours partnering closely with a lot of our client partners, which has given us a lot of insight as well into their daily workflows, their goals, their needs, their pain points, and also an understanding of the type of content that they are creating for their internal comms programs, as well as the extent of their pain points. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, Thomas, are you seeing the presentation?
Yep.
Perfect. And so with that, we are excited to start helping your teams do more with less by launching Cleary templates. So we have partnered with best-in-class companies. We know what they are doing with their internal comms programs, and now we are helping deliver that to you. We've analyzed tens of thousands of pieces of content over the years. We understand like the types of content that teams are working hard to create and put out to enable their employees and their company culture. We've also analyzed volumes of search queries to understand what employees are looking for from their employers. And we've considered wiki pages as well. What types of more evergreen content is useful to employees on a more long-term recurring basis and over the course of their employee journey with the company. So you'll see over here to the right an example of some of the categories that we'll be starting with for our templates. This ranges from everything from kind of company-wide type news and newsletters that need to go out to maybe upcoming events at the company that you're trying to promote. Another area that we've been increasingly hearing about more is employee advocacy that we'll have a category around, and the desire to basically leverage and activate your employee base to essentially do some free marketing about your company for you. And another topic that we've heard more about lately, especially from people who are kind of more of a team of one, taking on that internal comms role as an additional responsibility, is wanting more content help around holidays and observances and diversity inclusion communications. This is especially common at distributed companies who have a global employee base where people are asking, like, what are all the things that I need to be sending out? And more broadly, when it comes to creating content, we know that something that is top of mind is how that content should be structured. How long can it be before you maybe start to lose engagement with it? And as we've worked with many experienced teams, we understand that content can only be so long before you start to lose that engagement. Having shorter paragraphs with concise sentences helps. And additionally, that the more cohesive your communications are across the company, the easier it'll be for people to engage with it. A product newsletter should always look like a product newsletter. People who are receiving a recap about the all hands should kind of know when to expect that after the event and what that might look like. And so these are also things that we have kept in mind when constructing these templates. I'm going to actually go into the demo environment here and just show quickly how you will leverage these. So I'm going to go into the article admin. For those of you familiar with our platform, you know that this is where the internal comms magic happens. And I'm going to click to create a new article. So for one thing, you'll probably notice that this area of the product now looks extremely different. We have completely redesigned the article editor as part of this launch to really just help you create content in our platform even more efficiently. So on the left here, you'll see the template section, all the different categories that you can expand and explore. And you'll also see this suggested templates area at the top. So this will always be updated to contain things that we are suggesting, basically, that you send out on a monthly basis. And a lot of this will definitely be focused on content around like company culture, holidays, and diversity inclusion to help make sure that those things are top of mind when you're creating your content calendar for the month. So if I hover over any of these, you'll see I have options to preview the template so that I can get a sense for what that will look like. And from here, I can apply it and it will immediately populate into the article where I can then make any tweaks to review or send out. And all these templates too that you can create for your own company, you'll also be able to save any additional settings as well. So if you're always sending it to the same group of people, you want to save your notification settings, that can all be done to help save you time creating recurring content in the future. So we know that this is all a great start for helping to solve the cold start problem when you're looking at kind of the blank screen and wondering what to create. But we know that we can help you do even more. So for those of you who have leveraged Cleary at your companies, you're familiar with how it can really showcase and hold a lot of the historical context of your company over time and how that just continues to build. And so we know that we can actually help you leverage that in a more efficient way to create the right types of content for your employees at the right time. And so with that, we are super excited to announce Cleary AI for internal comms that is really going to even supercharge your use of those templates further. We've been talking with experts in the space about how people teams can leverage AI. And a lot of the recurring themes are around buying you back your time from all of these tasks that you're expected to do so that you can instead focus on those more strategic and impactful initiatives that you want to focus on around things like elevating the employee experience at your company. And so also in working with some of our client partners, We've seen a few use cases come up that have stood out as being really universally useful and common best practices for a strong internal comms program. So I'm going to walk through each of those 4 use cases today and show you how our new Cleary AI functionality is going to help revolutionize those workflows for you. So the first use case is weekly roundups. So you're sending out a lot of communications today that are important for people to consume. Those might be around company policies, events, surveys that people need to fill out, and sometimes people need reminders about those things as well. So when you're creating all of that, you're sifting back through Cleary or wherever you sent those, you're looking through the company calendar, trying to search for links to things, cobble all that together, copying, pasting, linking, just spending a lot of time creating and formatting any sort of content that you are sending out to people. And so now I'm actually going to demo how you can save yourself hours of time and not have to manually create those things. I'm going to go into create an article. I'm going to leverage this weekly roundup template. And as I click apply, you'll see that there are different sections of AI generated content being populated in this template that we're sharing with you. So it is looking for the announcements that have been sent out in Cleary over the past week, looking for any events that were created last week in the Cleary Q&A events, and also highlighting any open surveys that you want people to create. And you can set up these templates to, pull this content from the platform for any period of time or cadence that you're looking for, whether you send these on a weekly or monthly basis. It will also enable you to search for events from the company calendar. So if you're leveraging our company calendar integration, where a lot of you may list out like your town halls coming up or other office events, you can surface those for people as well so that you can give them a reminder of the calendar events that are coming up for the next week. The next use case I want to talk through is one that is pretty popular with people. I want to talk about monthly celebrations and public recognition. So this is something that is increasingly difficult to do in an equitable and inclusive way, especially when you have a hybrid work environment. Cleary does have a product today that is pretty well loved, which gives people a way to be reminded of their colleagues' birthdays and work anniversaries when they're coming up, share messages and gifts digitally in a digital card that will then be automatically delivered to that recipient. And whether or not you're using Cleary and those digital cards, you may still have other manual processes that you are, layering on top of that to celebrate employee milestones. So if you do have an office footprint, you may still be trying to bring in, physical cards or cake for people. That's obviously not going to really scale anymore and cover everyone when not everyone is in the office on a consistent basis. Maybe instead you have a huge list or a slide that you're creating for an all hands where you're plugging in all of the names and the photos of people whose work anniversary is coming up and sharing that at the all hands meeting. As I'm sure you know, this takes a lot of time to source all that information and format it every month. Or maybe you're sending out messages and a celebration Slack channel manually where you're pulling the list of people you need to recognize for the day and sending that. And these are all great initiatives. And I think a lot of times they can work when the company is, 100, 200 employees. But that manual effort typically doesn't scale as you get to 500, 1,000 employees when that's someone's job to manually pull and share that information every day. And you may be also leaving it up to someone's manager and their discretion and how they want to celebrate someone. But as we all know, all managers are not the same, and those choices can lead to less equitable practices across the organization. So to address this need, we are helping you create these celebration newsletters much more efficiently that you can simply review and publish within a couple of minutes. So here's an example here. There will be monthly celebrations templates that you can preview and apply that will leverage Cleary AI to pull in all of that information, because we do have the knowledge of the key milestones at the company, including the new hires that have started and also shout outs. So sometimes companies like to send shout out recaps where they're summarizing key shout outs from the month. So that's something that you can choose to include as well. Third, I want to talk about monthly newsletters. So this is probably one of the more robust pieces of content that you're creating for employees. It's very useful, it's informative, it also has some cultural content in there typically, but we've also found that because it's so robust and time consuming, it can be easy for a team to abandon this piece of content when they are stretched thin, just because of the time it consumes. So if we think about what this type of newsletter could look like going into Q4 here, you've sent out comms probably about open enrollment. Maybe you're getting ready to announce things around W-2s for tax season or 401k reminders before end of year. You might be wanting to remind people about company holiday parties or a town hall you're trying to squeeze in before people kind of start checking out in December. And then there's probably other key action items. You might be messaging with executives or team leads to try to understand what it is that they need to make sure gets surfaced in this company-wide distribution. And then beyond just trying to gather all of the kind of mission critical information, you're trying to blend in something a bit more fun or celebratory, whether that's recognizing work anniversaries for the month, or I think some examples I heard recently were putting in like some holiday recipes for end of year, and just kind of trying to keep some of those employee experience elements in the newsletter to kind of keep people engaged. So as you can imagine, you can easily spend hours and hours creating this piece of content. So this is also something that we want to help you dramatically reduce that amount of time. So again, if I go to create a new article, I'll have an example here around the monthly company newsletter that if I apply this, you'll see there are structures in place to help you format some kind of key information that we would suggest highlighting that you'll just be able to quickly click and edit to make it relevant for your company. And then you'll see other AI sections that we have structured as well, whether that is highlighting events for the month, resurfacing key announcements that have been sent that people need links to, or even populating the upcoming work anniversaries for the month. And then obviously we know that something that is important to folks is being able to make this content their own and unique for their company and their use cases. So these templates will be easy to edit as well, just like a regular article. So for example, maybe you want to add a section in the In Case You Missed It that doesn't just include articles, but also references any active surveys. So to do that, I can just quickly add an AI section and add a new prompt, something like write a list of any live surveys in Cleary and click create. And then this will look to pull in that information as well. And then another key thing around customization is around company style and branding. So for those of you who have used Cleary, you know that all the colors here you're seeing, the fonts on the app are all custom to your company. So I'm just going to show a quick example of what happens when another company has an extremely different brand and how you can quickly update the templates to match that. So you see here we have like a lot of green colors. If I go to create a new article and just look at our templates here and apply the company newsletter, maybe I want to change, the header text to be one of the green colors. You'll notice that in the color picker, it's actually defaulting to the colors of that company's brand. So it's leveraging the colors that you're already using across the app, which makes it much easier to create that content that is custom to your company's style. Lastly, I am really excited to announce our Zoom integration and our all hands recaps for our Cleary events. The all hands use case is something that is pretty universal to companies. It is notoriously the most expensive meeting at the company, and that's not just for the 1 hour that everyone is gathered together, but also for a lot of the preparation that goes into the meeting. So if you're helping run that meeting at all, you are creating the calendar events, creating the Q&A section in Cleary, maybe sending reminders to folks to make sure they have the details on the agenda and how to submit their questions for the Q&A. And then you're meeting with executives, making sure that they have their talking points, that they are prepared for the Q&A section, and you're coordinating with all the presenters and making sure that their presentations are finished, that their slides are merged into the rest of the presentation deck. And this all takes hours and hours of work. And so when you've put all that time into running an effective meeting, you want to make sure that people are engaging with it. And now that we are not all in the office 100% of the time, we're not all together live in the room for the all hands meeting, you're never going to be able to accommodate everyone in the different time zones and schedules for them to join live. So being able to share that same content and experience with them asynchronously after the fact is super important. Now, we've seen this kind of run the gamut in how companies are distributing any sort of all hands recap. Some teams are definitely stretched thin and just kind of want to share the video with people so that they can watch it on their own time. Others, are taking time to sift through the video recordings, search for the key timestamps of the discussion, list those out for people, and then write, several paragraphs around just a summary of the talking points from the meeting. Obviously, you can imagine that while that creates a good experience for employees, it is very time consuming for whoever has to create that content. So with this integration, we will actually be able to automate all that for you and just create a much easier way for employees to engage with the robust content of the all hands meeting after the fact. So if I go to my demo environment here, I'm going to go to the Cleary events section and head to this meeting here. So all you'll have to do is make sure that your Zoom meeting was linked to the event description. And then you'll see here, I have this button that says generate recap article. I'm going to go ahead and click that. But you won't even have to do this manually. The event owner will automatically get a notification once this meeting is finished and the Zoom video is ready, that their article draft is ready to review. So if I go back here, I'll see this Q4 planning recap article. And you'll see the Zoom meeting video has already been attached. It's just currently processing, like any other video upload that you do on the platform. And then you'll see that it is actually transcribing the transcript so that you have a written recap, and it is also auto-generating the list of chapters for you in the video, so that then all you'll have to do is review and publish this out to employees. This will also live on the event page itself. And because it is event content, it's article content, that means it is it's becoming searchable in Cleary for employees after the fact. So this is great because it provides you a consistent place to kind of continue to store all of this company information and resources for employees. But that also extends to your new hires that'll join the company in the future. Cleary is the only platform that gives them also access to that historical context of the company when they join. So with that, I want to talk about how you can get started leveraging this. First, for anyone, whether you're a customer or not, we are launching a free ebook that contains over 80 internal comms templates at this link below. And additionally, the Cleary templates will be available today in the platform for current customers, along with that fully redesigned article editor experience. And the Cleary AI for internal comms will also be available as well. And the Zoom all hands recaps will be coming this December before end of year. So we are all really excited to really give you all a ton of hours back in your day. And enable you to start leveraging that time to be more creative and strategic with your efforts, whether that's lending that creativity to the communications you're creating because the initial scaffolding of the content is already there for you, or whether it's towards just other employee experience initiatives. And as always, too, our customer success team is here to partner with you. We're eager to definitely hear your feedback as you start leveraging the new functionality, and also just help work with you if there's anything new that you want to leverage it to create, whether that's new content, new templates, trying new things with the AI. Definitely reach out to us as you start leveraging it and let us know how we can be helpful.
Thank you, Lauren, for sharing all of that. So we have a couple of questions coming in from the group, and then I have some as well I wanted to add. So first of all, from Ryan. Hey, Ryan. So I think if you go back to the demo environment here and share templates. So I think your Taylor Swift fandom is coming in the way of clarity. So there's an assumption that there are 1989 templates. And so are they actually AI generated? And in particular, how are we doing fact checking, especially for DEI comms, which are both sensitive and need to be accurate? And it's really hard for any one person to know everything that's going on across the globe. So could you talk a little bit about your Taylor Swift fandom, and followed by our process for template creation and how that will evolve in the future as well?
Yes, so we have 80 templates total in the platform that we will be starting with. We will be continuing to iterate and evolve on these for sure in the future to add more. 1989, apologies, is only the name of this demo company that I spun up because the ABC company was already taken. And so, yeah, those 80 templates will be available throughout this left panel here. And then anything that you create new for your own company templates will say, for example, this would say like scale templates for that customer. These will be populated here for you to leverage in the future. And in terms of how we're handling fact checking, creating and reviewing these templates are something that we are consulting with internal comms experts and consultants in our network to help make sure that these are like robust and appropriate to be sharing, broadly as like a best practice with companies.
Yeah, and I'll just add, especially with generated content, we want to be like very careful. And so everything here is handcrafted within the world of templates, and we wouldn't get to that world until we actually feel like it's actually useful. And we know that it's kind of vetted as a best practice before we put it in as a template. Another question, this one's from Mary here, was about the actual Zoom integration, or actually just video integration. So that's coming out in December, and the question is it just Zoom, and then how might it go? Like, are there other virtual meeting software that we might integrate with as well?
It is just Zoom to start with, just because that's the first integration that we have built out, but that is something we will be extending to other tools like Google Meet, BlueJeans, and Microsoft Teams also come to mind. It's just those will each be individual integrations, but the functionality and the workflows, we would strive to build those in the exact same way.
And as always, we'll be partnering with our customers on what the next platform is that we should be integrating with. And Lauren, another question from Ryan for the all hands meeting recap concept. So what LLMs are we using? How's data being protected? How are we thinking about data protection in general as we are integrating AI into our technology now? I guess Ryan's sharing, and I'm sure this is common, of course, an all hands meeting, it's something you're sharing information broadly, but it is with a trusted group, right? Your employee base. So you want to hold and keep that data private, of course. So how do we make sure, like, how can a customer or prospect thinking about looking at leveraging this technology consider how we look at data privacy?
Definitely. So the default partner for our AI functionality will be Anthropic, specifically because of those privacy concerns. We will enable customers, if they choose, to leverage OpenAI, but that will be something that the customer will determine and work with us and turn that on themselves. And then in terms of if you do have any other concerns as it relates to that, we can definitely put you in contact with our CTO who can speak to you on a more kind of technical basis if there's further questions you have beyond who the processors are and how you would adjust those. Because obviously privacy is a concern to us and keeping that data private for sure.
Yeah, I'll just add to that a little bit because I think maybe not everyone knows what the implications of using cloud versus OpenAI and everything else like that is. So we are a cloud provider. So all of our customers, when you work with us, you're trusting us with your data. And of course, we are SOC 2, Type 2 compliant, and we look at on the privacy side, both GDPR, CPAC, and all the rest as every state implements their own privacy kind of requirements, right? So, but beyond that, the concept of using Claude is that it's actually hosted within our own cloud environment. So data does not leave what Cleary already controls. So similar to how you are, publishing an article through Cleary, it's no different for the like summarization, for example, like happening or leveraging like this AI language model because it's hosted in our same AWS instance on the technical side. However, we wanted that to be the default. So we're not opening up any new fronts in sort of data leakage. However, for customers who do want to leverage distinct types of LLMs, our goal is to work with any and many of them. Just like we're starting with Zoom and we want to do more integrations on that front. Generally, we want to be giving options to our customers and being very open about the privacy implications there. But under no circumstances any of this data actually leaving Cleary and the existing infrastructure that we have with Cloud Anthropic, which is our default.
Mm-hmm. One other quick point of clarification, because I don't think I touched on this earlier when it was asked around the templates and the AI generated templates. The only templates that are AI generated will have this little magic wand icon, and it's only for those specific blocks that I showed where you can like pull in the articles and surveys and the different content from within Cleary. So things like a Thanksgiving article, that's not leveraging the AI for that. Those are the pieces of content that, like Thomas said, have been like crafted by us and consulted with within our network and that you can apply.
So I had a question, Lauren. So I know a lot of like our focus, we've been looking at like the emergence of generative AI over, all year, but really only applying it where we felt like our customers can save time and that it makes sense. It's purpose built for the use case, right? Which is definitely some of these use cases that you've gone through today. Now, I'm curious because you're closest to this. If you look across our customer base and really just the market, right? What are you most excited about in terms of a concept or a use case that can really just change workflows dramatically and help folks save time?
Yeah, I think in terms of, what we've shown so far, I think I'm probably most excited about the Zoom use case because even though we're talking about this for all hands, you could leverage that use case for any other meeting that you're creating within Cleary. So you can imagine team meetings. I know we've started to leverage it internally to be able to share out those recaps. And I know, at least for myself personally, I've been able to engage with meetings I couldn't attend just because that quick summary was there for me, that in the past, like I never would have had that context. So already I'm seeing how it's creating those like cross-functional efficiencies within our own company. And then in terms of like where this can go going forward, yeah, I think I'm definitely excited to think about how we can extend this even further to maybe some end user interaction in the future, whether that's helping them search for content on the platform better or in other ways as well.
Great. So we are quickly running out of time here. So I want to thank everyone for joining here today and just want to share a couple of parting thoughts, which is that, we are like super excited to launch these products and moreover see how it's going to be leveraged in practice across what all of you are going to be doing with it, whether it comes to templates, which for the first time we're excited to, in this world of doing more with less, provide free resources for folks who are often sitting around in teams of one or teams of two and not really maybe having a lot of collaboration going on. So ultimately, we want to help you save time and do more with that. And of course, our Cleary community, where we've been doing events, virtual and in person, is also designed specifically for all you folks to meet each other and share best practices so that we're not doing that just through the product. And then on the AI side, again, I'm really proud of what we have shipped here today because it's really been based on observations of how people have been leveraging the product today and where we know we're 100% confident this will just save people time and free it up to be creative. And so the AI product, excited to see how everyone leverages it. It's in beta and we are always going to be iterating. So looking forward to hearing all of the feedback. And for those of you who are not Cleary customers, please stay in touch via the community. We'll continue to have virtual events and in-person events, not just about the Cleary product, but more broadly about what it takes to build a great employee experience and a great workplace of the future. So thank you one and all once again, and we will see you all next time. Bye now.